Hey, good afternoon. Welcome to end of week wrap up here. This is Neil, and you get the free video kicked off here. We're looking at a daily chart with SPX on the left and ES futures on the right. So first, where we were last week and what we were looking for, does that help us preparing for next week? Last week, let's start with the ES on the right. All right, so last week, this level right here that David gave us, look at this, it's labeled. It goes all the way back to the 17th. David Starr told us when that happened, he was like, this is going to be an important spot right here. It was the closing swing low on that date of the 17th. And here we go, fast forward, we're all the way out in, 7 days deep into February. And we're learning that that's still as true today as it was then. So last week, we said, hey, let's use this as our kind of line in the sand. And now, what is it? What's the level exactly? Well, 60.30 was the week open. 60.26 or 5.6 was the volume kind of point of control. And 27 is that closing swing low of the 17th right there. So I was like, I've tried to basically get you in there, and I give it a little bit of wiggle, and I said, let's just use 60.25. And so if you want to know, I mean, basically it's everything between 25 and 30 if you want to kind of make it, really dial it in and call it 27. I mean, that's kind of the real mark. But I was just, kind of give it a little bit of wiggle and say, all right, let's call it the 25. Now, if it happens to squeeze below that, well, then go with me to the chart over here on the left, the SPX chart. Then the next backstop would be 59.25. That's SPX. Now, 59.25 SPX. There's a voodoo fire line right there. That's incredibly important. And it has been for a long time. Even going back before the 17th, I mean, that's been important for, for quite a while. So remember that on the ES side over here, remember that the year opened at 59.50 in the ES, and last December opened at 60.50, which is where the ES is right this minute. I mean, right now. And it's, by the way, it's not even quite 3 o'clock yet. It's a few minutes in front of the bell. So, furthermore, this is important too. On this break that occurred the first break, the swift break, right? Well, the recovery was, remember, an 887 fib retracement of that break. It was also gap resistance up here at about 30 and change in the ES, on the ES side. Well, interestingly, this break from last week's closing high to this week's low, the break, again, the uptick was, as you can see right there, an 887 fib recovery yet again. I mean, it's like perfect on this one. Like it hit it within 2 ticks or something, 2 or 3 ticks today. So it was perfect. The failure, though, from there goes all the way back down to, well, the December open, the weekly pivot, the 50% fib of this entire move, last week's Friday high to this week's low, Monday low. So we made an 887 fib recovery, just like the last one, and now it failed there, and it's dropped all the way back down to a half back. Now, this, first of all, this leaves this, in my opinion, wide open to, really honestly, like anything. This thing could just as easily come bid from, from here next week and reach up and try to make a new high. It's equally, I think, I have a gut feel on this, which I'll share with you, but it's equally kind of suspicious that, it's trapped in this range, and it makes you wonder, okay, what's the SPX looking for here, 5,900 or 6,200? Because right now it's trapped like basically all on top of the 6,000 mark. It's just like all, wrapped around $6,000. So, it really could go either way. And I'm going to give you the same message because we're at the same spot. With the same, I just went through the whole thing to point out the fact, that's my proof, I guess, that we're in the same spot, the same situation, the same levels, the same everything, the same recovery, an 887 fib recovery, back down to the same over-under right in the middle on the weekly pivot, the whole, everything's right there. So I would use the same plan, honestly, that we did last week. And, and I'm even dialing in this over-under right there, lining in the sand for next week by ever so slightest of margins, but I mean, it does dial it in a little bit for you. It really gives you an idea of, okay, we got to focus right there. That's your lean long above, short below. So is it, headed higher? I mean, maybe. If it does, it needs to come from, it can't go much lower. It's got to come from basically 6,000 and bounce in the SPX. I mean, it's just got to. It can't go much lower, really, or it's just in trouble, in my opinion. It's my opinion. But look, here's the thing. If we go higher, you got a target. I mean, look at the JPM March collar, the short strike on there on the call side right there at, 65. So there's your target. That's pretty easy. That's a bull target. And then my gut, though, honestly, I don't know which way it goes. My gut, though, leans to this. And that is that here you had an impulse down recovery and then continuation. However, this too looks to me like for this week it was an impulse down recovery. And what would be next? My suspicion is that it would continue for a lower low below this week's low and trying to reach down here and hit something like, closing this gap. So what I'll do is I'll give you a bull target of, the over-under. You got the over-under. You'll have a bull SPX target of that JPM collar up there on the top, and you can see the price on the screen. I just put it right there for you. And then the bear target would be this gap down here. My lean is for the gap fill at the bottom down there. Either way, I'll share this little tidbit of advice with you, and that would be prepare yourself for this environment, which is very news kind of sensitive. The news comes seemingly almost out of nowhere at any given time. It's not like it's really scheduled. There's just news breaks, and it's going to be like that. It was the last time. It is so far this time. You need to either prepare yourself for that or to be prepared to have a rough couple of years if you're not ready for the environment that we're kind of in, which is, well, newsy, and price reacts with the news. So that's what I've got for you for this week, and I hope it helps in kind of carrying you through in your trading next week. Look forward to being with you again then. Till then, take care.
Without simpler trading, I could not have financial independence.
This is one of the best investments I ever made in my life.
It's helping me find consistency. It's one of the things that won me